And we're back. It's No Driving Gloves. We got all three of us again. It's amazing. I think this is 2 weeks in a row that we have all three of us. I guess things are settling into place. Been kind of a hectic week a little bit. We discussed in the last episode that my house was up for sale. And that would be the reoccurring theme in each episode. Like Will used to recruit for employment. I'd ask people to buy my house. Then I got 2 offers within 12 hours. So thanks a lot, guys. I'm not sure if it's one of you that stepped up, but we shouldn't have to talk about my house anymore. Now just listen to me 3 weeks of whining about moving the shop because the furniture is all moved already. So that was my last week of activity, guys. Have you been up to anything or anything exciting? None of mine was carish, but
we got something pretty exciting going on at the shop right now. David Coker, that owns Rocket Racing Wheels, called me last Thursday, and I'm pretty good friends with David, and he's developed a new one-piece wheel called the Rocket Attack. It's a lightweight, semi-forged dual direction wheel. It's pretty neat, and he's a lot like me. He's more of a vintage hot rod guy than a pro touring guy, and this wheel really kind of fits into the pro touring field pretty heavily. And so he's wanting to build an autocross car to showcase his new wheel, the Attack. So he called me last Thursday and asked me, how busy we were. And I'm like, we're pretty busy. And anyway, long story short, I wound up shuffling a few things around, and we're putting him together a 73 Camaro autocross car in 4 to 5 weeks. Hopefully we're trying to have it done in 4 weeks. That gives us a couple of weeks before the first race. So anyway, that's we're hot and heavy on that right now, and still trying to get this 42 Chevrolet truck done. So if you follow us on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, we're going to start doing a video blog on the build of the Camaro to try to build a little bit of hype before Good Guys Columbus, which is where it's going to really be competing for the first time. We're going to try to bring it out in Des Moines the weekend before, and just get some test passes and stuff on it and try to dial some stuff in. But anyway, so that's the most exciting thing happening around here.
So what date's Good Guys Columbus?
It's the second weekend in July. So it'll be like the 6th, 7th, 8th, something like that. So
I might see a road trip in my future there.
Heck yeah, come on. We'll be there.
You be in the corner again with the Bryce radiator guys?
I'm not sure yet. I'm sure that I'll be over there a good bit. It just depends on if we get the 42 there, then I won't be there. I'll be probably somewhere else with the truck and back and forth between it and the autocross course with David and the Camaro. So shaping up to be a pretty busy Columbus.
So what's up with you, D-Man?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Will done talking finally? I thought this was.
I thought this was
the Will hour again. I was waiting for an advertisement for employment at his shop. Nobody likes to hear what we do at work. Will, come on. I mean, all I've been up to is getting ready for an exhibit, and I think we talked about it last week. When this podcast goes out, it'll be install week for the exhibit. Of course, the exhibit is Chevrolet Racing, Louis to Le Mans, and we're going to be looking at some of really the most pivotal cars in Chevrolet racing history. We're bringing them in to the museum for about 6 months, and they'll be here from beginning of June. Exhibit opens June 11th, and they stay through January, I think it's 4th of 2019 is the closing. And we've got a few of the cars in undercover, hidden away at the museum right now, but I'll get a few more in next week. So I'm just kind of in the mad rush of make sure all of the graphics and exhibit labels and everything look right, read right, and get ready for the big push all these cars over here and then push all of them back here. And then that one doesn't look right there, so move it. And luckily, I'm the guy that gets to direct all that and make everyone else push the cars around. So that's what I'm doing at work. That's basically what I've been busy with is just getting this exhibit ready to go so people can come enjoy it.
Gotcha. I would also like to add, like John mentioned before when we were kind of chatting in the pre-show, um, this will release on the week before the Power Tour starts. Is that right, John?
Yeah, it should yeah, this is we're recording this on May 30th, and this episode will release on June 4th.
Gotcha. So my offer still stands for anybody that's on the Power Tour. If they want to swing by the shop, like I said, the route is coming right in front of the shop. So it's just a matter of turning off the route, turning into the driveway of the shop. So if that's something you want to do, just let us know on social media, and I'll give you a pretty good idea of where it's at on the route, and you can stop by and see what we got going on.
Are they going to be driving Chattanooga to Birmingham on Sunday?
No.
Or is that on Monday?
I think it's Tuesday the 11th, or Monday the 11th. Okay, it'll be Monday the 11th, I'm pretty sure. They're leaving Chattanooga and winding around Tennessee some, and then I think they may even get into Georgia a little bit, and then come through Cherokee County, Alabama, and then into Piedmont, and then they get on Highway 278 in Piedmont and come all the way to Gadsden. So,
and they start like a racetrack down the street from Derrick too on the 9th, don't they?
That is correct.
And then, like I said, when you guys head out of Birmingham, or maybe we're still not sure at Barber's, will at least be open, I think, as you're heading out of Birmingham for Atlanta out on I-20 at exit 140. We're not just a driveway off the route. We're about a mile and a half. Take exit 140? Yeah, exit 140, and pop on over if you wanted to see the museum there if you're on that tour. I'm going to see where I can get out to, but obviously with, as I said, selling my house, I might have movers at my house that weekend. I had planned on going up to Bowling Green and following the guys at least through to Birmingham, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Damn life gets in the way of our cars again. And I think that could lead us into our topic. We've been sitting around discussing and how things change in the world and things come and go, and you never know what's going to happen. And there's been a lot of press, and it's, the Viper is one of these cars that passed away this year. It's the second time in its life that it's actually passed away and had been brought back. And it's not even, they haven't even really put the last shovel of dirt on the Viper. Of course, they did disassemble the assembly line in the plant and are making it kind of the new Fiat Chrysler of America Museum. But the rumors are already that the car may return in 2020. And we're going to, I guess we're going to kind of look at some of these cars and nameplates from the past that have been brought back and whether or not they've been successful, longevity, but as interesting it is, this topic was brought to the table by Derek, our Corvette guy, who I think he sees the Viper, because everybody knows I'm a Chrysler guy and kind of pro Viper, as a challenge to the Corvette, maybe driving its engineering and making it a better car, because God knows the Corvette got a lot better after the Viper came on the market in 1992.
Well, I mean, I just like to rub it in that Corvette's still in production. It's the longest running production sports car in America, and nothing really has beat it. So just throwing that out there, John.
Daggum, that shut him up, didn't it?
I was taking a drink. I expect Derek to embellish
Yeah,
a little bit.
We heard you. We heard it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, you needed a
Well,
drink
we
after
all
that.
heard you
what's
drinking.
what
So
what's
Yeah,
nice?
you needed a
like-
drink after that,
it
didn't
sounded-
you? Oh God, he's right.
It sounded like you were drinking out of a sissy stick too. Was you drinking out of a straw?
I don't. I try to avoid straws. They contaminate the world, and we need that plastic to continue to produce the Corvettes. Viper used space age advanced composites when it came to market in 1992. And the Corvette was still, like chopped fiberglass or something. But Derek's thinking, was it really? Was it really? Around a steel frame, not even an advanced aluminum substructure like the Viper had in it when it came to market, 25 horsepower ahead of
what's
the
your
Corvette
point?
ZR1
You itch a
of the
little
day.
when you drive them. How much did the Viper cost?
$56,000. Let's see here. In
Okay.
the Corvette, if I'm remembering, the window sticker on our 90 ZR1 is $29,000. Oh, and a $32,000 engine option. The Viper knew what you wanted, and it came with one engine.
Yeah, a V10 that sounds like a dump truck.
Wait, and if I remember right, John, how many years did it take for you guys, your dad, to get the Viper that he wanted?
2.
They copied the freaking Corvette from the 60s. You know, didn't the original Vipers have side pipes on them or something like that?
They copied the Cobra because Shelby was involved with the development of the Viper. And it had the unique thing. It was the last true roadster ever built in America, with its removable side curtains, its lack of door handles, its zippered side windows. Yes, it screams security in downtown New York City or Chicago or Gadsden.
A true roadster had...
And I mean, as he keeps saying this, it really adds up that $54,000 mark, was it, on the price to get no windows and no top and no door handles and what was the $54,000 for?
I thought a true roadster had a bolt-on windshield as well. So how could it be considered a true roadster if it didn't have a bolt-on windshield?
I think if you actually got into the Viper subassembly, the windshield did bolt on kind of a little bit like the old MGs.
Okay, I'm not even going to say nothing else. We copied an MG.
Federal safety, what?
So essentially, a Viper is a larger MG with a V10?
No, it's a Cobra with a V10.
A Cobra.
With an MG frame.
MGs, I believe, were a unibody. At least B's and A.
Yeah, they were.
I'll be honest. If they do come out with the Viper, which John don't think they will, and I have not read anything really about it yet, so I haven't really developed an opinion. But if they do bring it back and they put a V8 in it, in my opinion, it will be a better car.
Well, the defense that FCA, Fiat Chrysler of America, is using, and it's very defendable. One of the reasons they say the Viper went away is we have these Hellcat and Demon Challengers that are putting out more horsepower with their V8s than the Viper would or did with its V10. They do sound better than the V10. The V10 has an interesting exhaust note, but then remember the Lamborghini Gallardo, the Lamborghini Huracan, the Audi R8, they've all figured out how to make the V10 sound pretty good. But, they're going to stick the V8 in it. They said they couldn't do it with the Viper because the engine's too tall and just the way that architecture works. But, the new Viper will be a completely new body. It won't carry over anything. It won't be built off of, in 92, it was a fresh sheet of paper. When it came back again in whatever it was, 08 or 09, it was basically a revamped Mercedes. So I think the next one would be a clean sheet of paper redesign. I think the true reason it's been pulled from the market and it's taking this 1 or 2 year break from the market, they said, is it did not accommodate the side curtain airbags from the, an overhead type situation for a side impact, which is very believable. Derek joked earlier about safety guidelines and that, and unfortunately safety is dictated to the way a lot of cars have come. But, maybe the Viper will come back, maybe it won't. A lot of my friends have went out and purchased final model year Vipers, Viper, whatever they are, 118s or 158s. And, there's all these special editions. I think every Viper is a special edition anymore. They only made 12 of them a year or something. So it was an interesting car. It's a halo car. It's got to come back. And that kind of leads us really into what the true topic is. This isn't a Viper better than Corvette conversation. It's nameplates that have been brought back to life. And, since we're on this halo car, the Corvette's always been there for General Motors, as Derek pointed out. And it's a great car. To be honest, I am a Corvette fan. At some point in my life, my girlfriend will kill me for saying I will have a Corvette. My first car was almost a Corvette. I made a stupid mistake 25 years ago, I think it was, and didn't really try to pursue buying a big block Corvette convertible. And at some point, I think I will see me in a Corvette, or at least have one in the garage for fun. So they're a good car. But the other company, the other American company, or really there's only two of them anymore, Ford brought back the GT nameplate, did it in 05 and 06, and did a hell of a job with that car, with the retro styling. And I'm not a big retro styling guy, but I think the Ford GT of 05 and 06 paid homage to the cars. And then, of course, now we have the new Ford GT, which is okay, in my opinion. Horrible marketing and sales strategy on Ford's part. But I think Derek's topic was to discuss the nameplates that have come back. 05, 06 Ford GT, great car, even though, V8, supercharged, little bit of tuning, 800 horsepower, new car. And I don't know if it's quite as cool in its styling. It does have some of the new, I think, exotic car styling. V6, but that's the way motors are going. Twin turbocharged. Not a big fan. Hated the marketing plan. So there's my first retro comeback car. You guys have any says, or do you want to jump onto another car?
Well, let me throw this, because it's not, I don't want to just talk about, this car came back, here's what they did. But I want to throw out our thoughts on these things too, and go really deeper, like with the Ford GT. Okay. 05, 06, they bring out the retro style GT. And then now they bring out the essentially supercar GT. I mean, let's say it. I mean, it's nothing more than a supercar that they really built to take out and race against the Corvette race, Corvette racing and the other different race teams that are out there running in those classes. But I want to get to the discussion of not only maybe the engines, but the styling and how we feel about that, let's say the heritage of these vehicles, okay? Because the retro GT, the 05, 06 GT, I knew some guys that worked on that project at Ford, some of the engineers. I kind of got some behind the scenes stories out of it, and some of the stuff that they were really trying to do with that car and really paying tribute to what had been done in the 60s. Now, clearly the new GT doesn't really have that connection other than the name. I appreciated what was done in 05 and 06. That was incredible. The heritage, building that car the way they did, an amazing job. As John, as you say, the new one here, I mean, should it carry the GT name badge? Because is it really that heritage? And, I'm going to throw out another car because, as everyone knows, I owned a GTO when I was younger. I owned one of the 1974s, the last year they built them. The year that a lot of people didn't care for because they ran it on the Nova Ventura body platform, the X body, and a lot of people didn't like that. I thought it was really cool. All the GTOs that they did were really cool cars for the muscle car era. And then GM makes this big announcement. Pontiac division's going to bring the GTO back. They had a really cool, kind of retro, kind of futuristic, dream car, a concept car, whatever you want to call it, at the auto show in 2000. Oh, what year was that? Because I actually went that year. 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. I would have to look it up to be exact, but they had a really cool concept out there. And I was kind of like, man, this could actually go somewhere. And then what does Pontiac do? They bring the Holden Monero over and they put a Corvette engine in it. Now, okay, it's Corvette engine, good horsepower. It's highly engineered. I get it. But that's not a GTO. That is not what Pontiac did with the GTO back in the 60s and 70s. It's just not what the GTO name stood for in the Pontiac line. And it lasted for 2 years or a few years, 05, 6. It was just 2 years, wasn't it? If I recall correctly. Now I don't even remember because I hated it so much. I stopped paying attention to it.
I think it was 04, 05, and 06, so 3 model years.
Okay, 04, 05, 06, somewhere in there. But heritage-wise, and really when they make a big deal about bringing one of these cars back and not keeping with, especially with something like the GTO, that was a car for everybody. I mean, that was something you could go out and obtain as a muscle car in the 60s. The GT wasn't quite that way, and obviously, not everybody can obtain a Ford GT even today. But the customer base that owned the GTO in the 60s and 70s, they're still around. And there was some hype built up around that car, especially with the customer base that used to have the GTO. And when it came out, it wasn't anything what it had been. It was, and I know times change and we get into modern standards, but don't just rebadge a car and call it something else. That's one of my big things, but and John, maybe, I mean, you're a Viper guy. I mean, I know you like Vipers. Your family has Viper. If the Viper came out and it was just merely a rebadged car that they changed some body panels on to make it look a little cooler, I mean, does that carry on what a reintroduction of that car should be?
To me, the reincarnation of the Viper that's already happened was basically a rebodied Mercedes anyway. And, that's just part of the Daimler-Chrysler merger of Chrysler, or that happened, not of Chrysler. But I understand what you're saying, and I kind of want to be quiet for a minute and let Will have a say, but I'll go a little bit with what you said. Everybody was excited about the GTO and it coming back. And then it flops and GM goes, guess nobody wanted it. We were right. So it hurts the next idea that comes along, whether it be an El Camino or a Ranchero with Ford or, anything to come back. We don't want this retro stuff. Well, what GM has done is, we're bringing back the GTO and this is what we're going to introduce. And then they change everything at the last minute and it destroys the car because bean counters control the industry. I was just having a conversation on Bob Lutz's new book, and he really said, this is the way, Harley Earl was and Bill Mitchell. They had free reign. They could do any damn thing they wanted when they designed a car. Lutz refers to, I think it was Mitchell, they wanted this exhaust sound. They wanted it to sound like an exotic, a Ferrari. So they flew to Italy and bought a Ferrari motor 12-cylinder, came back and put it in a Firebird. And that's the exhaust sound they wanted. They could do that. And then in the 70s, the accountants took over and the bean counters took over. And they started to say, oh, we can do this and we can do that. And we can take this part and we can take this part and we can build this car. And so what if people don't want them? They'll buy them and then they'll buy something else. They forgot about the brand loyalty, and we don't have brand loyalty anymore. He refers to a camshaft issue with some car that General Motors made, and the camshaft would break, and they would have to put a new camshaft, and it was replaced and replaced and replaced, and it was never under warranty. It was never a recall, and the bean counters took over, and finally somebody at General Motors, and I can't remember if it was Lutz himself or whatever, said, no, we're going to fix this. Fix the damn camshaft so that this problem doesn't occur. So they re-engineered the camshaft, and then the replacement parts went out that didn't break. And the accountant said, great, you cost us $50 million a year in parts because this is how many, this is what we were selling. But they forgot that the guy that's driving this car isn't going to buy another General Motors product because the camshaft keeps breaking in it. And once it's paid off, or he's at a point that he's no longer upside down, and that's what ruins, I think, the GTO nameplate when it comes back. Ford sorry, Will, I'm going to go on with another car. You need just to jump in. But, say Ford, Ford kind of got it right with the Thunderbird. They knew the demographic they wanted. They wanted the guys that had the Thunderbird, remembered the Thunderbird, couldn't afford the Thunderbird. No, it wasn't a great car. It was a rebadged Lincoln MKS or something. LS, okay, with 2 seats, but it was a decent car. It sold to the target market. Ford knew they were only going to sell it for 2 or 3 years. Everything was bean counter design, but they kind of got that car right because they gave us what they promised and they gave us what we remembered. The GTO didn't. They gave us something that looked like every other Pontiac in the lineup. And they almost got it right. It's kind of the Fiero syndrome. They almost got it right with the G8. When the G8 came out, that was a hell of a car. We talked about it in the last episode, and all three of us got excited when Derek found one for $6,500 or something, and we're all ready to hop in the car and go buy it. We did find out it was a 6-cylinder, but they almost got that car right. But unfortunately, Pontiac was dead by then. We were in this recession, and some car companies went away. So, not to skew the topic, but there's my tirade about kind of why these retro cars don't work.
But here's
Will
my big
one
problem.
up before.
No. Here's my problem, because you just brought up, the GTO not delivering what it had promised, and I don't know if you guys remember what the concept car looked like. Go back and look at the concept car for the GTO, and I'll even look. Okay, it was 1999. That's when it was actually concept I saw it at the Detroit Auto Show. And you cannot sit here and tell me that car did not become the new retro Camaro.
It's exactly what it is.
And that's another place. That is another place where GM screwed up. And they realized like you said, John, they did this bean counter thing with the GTO, changed it all up, Holden Monero, Corvette engine, just put something together and get it out there. It flops. They realize it's a flop, and then they go back and say, at least this is my opinion on it and what I see, they go back and look at the GTO issues and then go, well, let's bring the Camaro out and let's bring that really cool Pontiac GTO concept into the Chevy line and make it the Camaro.
It looks a lot like the Camaro, so I mean, I can't argue with you on that.
And it's quite possible that that's what they did, and it's funny that that's the way these car companies work. If you want us to buy cars, you need to give us something with passion, and kind of listen to what we want. Yeah, I'll admit that maybe the 2-door sport coupe's out. My girlfriend and I just spent last 6 weeks trying to figure out what 2-door sports car she would get to replace her car. She was involved in an accident, got totaled, and she wanted to get a sports car. It was an appropriate time for her to. and we just couldn't find anything. And, she kind of said, well, what would you buy if you could buy anything out there? To be honest, even when I bought my SHO 6 months ago, 5 months ago, whatever it was, I'm not excited about anything on the market. I'm happy with my SHO, but did I crave and long and I had to go out and buy it? No. And even the SHO is a revamped nameplate. I mean, they had the SHO, we all remember, and hell, they've been on Bring a Trailer for almost every day for the last 3 or 4 weeks, these 90, 91, 95 SHOs. And that nameplate eventually went away and came back in 2010. And no, the SHO today is not the pocket rocket 5-speed sports car it was in 1990 with the Yamaha V6. It's still a fun car. It's a hell of a lot better than any Taurus out there. But, car that died this year was the Chevy SS. That was a hell of a car. LS motor, V8, big 4-door sedan. Why couldn't that car make it when Dodge doesn't seem to have a problem selling their, 10-year-old? Because I don't count the body refresh as a redesign of the Chrysler 300 or the Charger. That was just a body refresh. They've been selling those cars since, 07 or 08? They don't have a problem.
I'll tell you why. Did you ever go look at a Chevy SS and look at the sticker on the thing?
$40,000.
I mean, good Lord, they didn't have a lower optioned one. You had to get one with the freaking ass scratcher, If they would have made one that was a lower optioned car that was, at least, $34,000 to $38,000, they would have sold the crap out of those things.
But I guess I'm arguing you take an SRT8, it's $40,000 all day long. Yes, it had to have a lower price version to maybe help justify building the car. The Taurus has that too, but I think the sticker on my Taurus was 42 or 43. So $40,000. Just to be honest, you got to have $40,000 to kind of get any car. But the problem with the SS is it was badge engineered. It looked like every other Chevy on the market. So, that's the big problem with the Taurus SHO too. Is it you really? I drive an SHO and I have a hard time telling SHOs apart from regular Taurus. So,
yeah. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. To me, right now, the worst car or badge that was dropped and then came back has to be the Dart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God, guys, all you did was put a Dart emblem on a freaking neon. I mean, dude, I get it. A Dart back in the day could have been a hot rod. It could have been an economy car.
Yeah. With
whatever option you got. You got a slant 6 and a 4-speed. Yeah, it could have been a kind of an economy car. But I mean, I don't really keep up with them. I don't even know if they offer a little hopped up Dart, to compete with a Civic Si or something like that. But a Dart should not be competing with a freaking Civic anyway, in my opinion. Is the Dart a good car? The new Dart? Apparently it is. They sell the crap out of them.
Actually, they've discontinued it again.
Well, there you go.
See, but I will disagree. I'm going to disagree with you on that. The Dart before was an economy car that had a performance version available. The Dart that was sold, 14 to 17, I think it was, or 13 to 17, was an economy car, and it did have a performance version. It was, but it was also a rebadged either Fiat or Alfa, and it never kind of found its home because everybody remembers the Dart as a performance car, even though it really was more, to me, a econo box. And if Civics would have been on the market when the Dart was sold, it probably would have been a competitor. But we're talking 60s to 70s there. Honda really didn't, a 600 Honda from 1965 or 66, absolutely no match for the Dart. But you put that in the trunk of the Dart. But I think with the Dart nameplate, it was an appropriate thing, but it was, again, I think most people, well, maybe I haven't said it much on the podcast. I am not a big Fiat Chrysler of America fan. I am a fan of the old Mopars and that pre-Daimler Chrysler merger stuff. And Fiat seems to be doing whatever they can to sell Chryslers based on their heritage, and that's why we have the the SRT lines. That's why we have I think that's why we had the problem with the Vipers. It started to infringe on. It started to get to a point it affected used Ferrari sales. Now Ferrari has been spun off from Fiat. They're different companies again, but I think at one point they saw that as eating into the used Ferrari market. But bringing the Dart name badge back, they kind of did the same thing with the Fiat. Is it the 2000 or whatever their little rebodied Miata thing is? I don't even think their 500 is that great of a car. That's just personal. At some point, we'll really get into my hatred of Fiat, but at this point, I don't need to get sued. So
I don't really mind these whatever rebodied, whatever, and put a nameplate on it. It doesn't honestly really bother me. When they came back out with the Camaro, I mean, and it kind of supposed to resemble a '69 Camaro or the first gen Camaros, and you hear a lot of people hate it, and a lot of people love it. It wouldn't have hurt my feelings if they would have come up with some totally new platform and everything was changed. If it was a rebodied whatever, if it's a good car, it's a good car. I don't think the Dart failed because they took the name Dart and stuck it on a neon. I think it wasn't a car that sold. And the GTO's another another one. They could have put any name badge they wanted on it, and it still would have only been there for 3 years. It sucks they've used the name GTO and it didn't live up to the hype that it was supposed to be. But man, they're just trying to. I don't really understand what they're trying to do, honestly. If you come up with a new car and give something the same name as something in the past, then it's just different. It's never going to be the same, whether it's designed after it, whether it's got a new Hemi in it or an old Hemi in it. I mean, it's nothing's the same anyway. So what does it honestly really matter?
No, the good example of that, and I don't think a lot of people think about it, is the Impala. That nameplate had gone away. It was brought back in 95 and 96 on really a hell of a Caprice. I mean, that is what the Impala, to me, that's what I remembered, this big Impala SS, a lot of horsepower, big fast car. Then it goes away for a few more years. And the Impala anymore, it's a four-door econ car. Hell, they even, kind of made that little wagon thing. And yes, I understand in the 60s they made Impala wagons and whatever they call them. But there's another nameplate that's been brought back to try to get us to remember our youth and have fun. And no, it's not that. Again, my idea when I think of an Impala is a 60 bubble top or a 6.4 from Dr. Dre videos. It's these big, long, intimidating, imposing cars, evil looking. The new one, I don't know if I could pick out at a stoplight.
Okay, here you go. So something just clicked in my mind here, because you brought up the idea of the station wagon Impalas and all the old station wagons we remember, and bringing names back. What is, and I'm doing this just for devil's advocate, whatever you want to call it, but for sake of the conversation, where is the what I'm trying to think how to phrase this. So we have something like the Impala or the GTO or something. I mean, the Impala, as you said, John, it comes back kind of in a heritage way, where it's a family sedan with a big engine, things like that. But like the GTO doesn't come back the same as the heritage would lead you to believe it would. But yet when you get into, and what I'm thinking here is the Suburban nameplate, the Chevrolet Suburban. That was a nameplate from long ago that came back, and it's the same freaking vehicle just updated. It's a truck with a big station wagon body on it, and you could carry a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of stuff in it. They don't monkey around with that. Okay, they slap a Cadillac name badge on it sometimes and call it whatever they called the Cadillac version of it.
Escalade.
Oh God, what was that? Escalade. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, but so if you do it with your truck line and you stick with the same thing, why can't you do it with the car line and keep that idea of the brand heritage and the brand loyalty going?
But I don't think the Suburban ever went away.
Oh yeah, they didn't make the Suburban for quite a while.
When was that?
The last of the first Suburbans were built in the early 30s.
I thought they made it to the 40s. I want to say they took the 50s off from the Suburbans and kind of brought it back in the 60s. But
I don't think a Suburban came back.
I know they were back in '65 because a buddy of mine just bought one. Well, yes, today.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. But I'm saying I don't remember them in the pre-war 40s either.
They might not have been called Suburbans, but they had these they called carry-alls or something like that. It was basically a Suburban with no
there was
no
the
glass,
carry-all
with no glass in the back.
Yeah, there was the carry-all, but the Suburban started.
Now, according to a couple internet sources, the Suburban has been produced nonstop. It's the longest nonstop vehicle, 1935 to present.
All right, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Wow, I could have swore they didn't make them. I could have swore they didn't build them, but I missed that. I guess we'll just have to edit that section out.
No. We get to keep it because
we only edit out when John's proved wrong. Because John edits.
All right. All right. Well, scratch that theory.
Well, hey, they have a Corvette museum. Why don't you start a Suburban museum? Since it's been produced longer than the Corvette.
That's true.
Suburban Gold.
Business opportunity.
What is that? The NSRS, the National Suburban Restorer Society?
Ooh, I like it.
You don't have the right chalk mark on that firewall.
All right.
I think the topic we had an intention and a direction we wanted to go, and we really strayed, but I think we've actually... I want to hear some social media feedback on this. You guys need to get on our Facebook and find this episode that's posted. It's going to be episode 47, and tell us what we did wrong. Bring that and tell us what we remember from your past. This sounds like a really good conversation. This episode we're going to crest 5,000 downloads, and we're going to have we're picking up some steam here. We've got a lot of listeners. Let's get some feedback from you guys and tell us what nameplate do you remember that was brought back or forgotten. I mean, we can go back. We had the Chargers, and then in 81, I know my family had a 81 Dodge Charger 2.2, which was nothing more than an 024 Omni that had the Charger nameplate on it. And because it's nostalgic to me, yeah, it's a cool car, but it was no Charger. Maybe the Shelby version of it was a little bit closer, but it's not the 68, 69, 70, muscle car Charger we remember. But hell, the Mustang too, you could say that went away, but fill us in on some of that, guys. Let us know what we're doing wrong here. Now that we've forgotten about, I didn't say we were done ranting. I was just trying to take us away so people would forget Derek's error on the Suburban. Oh, I reminded everybody again. I'm sorry.
We all mess up once in a while. Hey, you know what? We're all human. That's all I got to say. And you know what? Next time I talk about Suburbans, guess what? I know they've been built since 1935, and they're the longest running nameplate for Chevrolet and probably for any American-built automobile. So there you go. Learned something new. Well, not really new, but probably refreshed my memory on why I forgot the 1940s and 50s Suburbans just don't come to mind because they weren't that good looking. Yeah, I'd rather have the late 60s, the C10 look. 67, 68, 69. That's a good looking Suburban.
Dude, the best looking
Yeah, well, I mean, if I was
Suburbans,
going
the
best
65,
looking,
66.
if I was going best looking, it'd be the 35. Come on, it's sweet.
Which one of those 60s ones would my girlfriend not drive because it's asymmetrical because it has 3 doors?
That would be the 67 through 72, I believe.
She gives me crap all the time about my Velociter and it being 3 doors, and that's why she won't drive it. It's an asymmetrical car. So I started picking on her about the Pacer because it is also asymmetrical, if you didn't know that. But the passenger door is 4 inches longer than the driver's door. But now that we've taken a little bit of break, how do we talk about retro nameplates in the future? I know a couple of those were brought up, ones that are coming back in the near future. And where do we think they should go?
Well, I know the Ford Ranger and Ford Bronco are supposedly coming back soon. Hopefully, Ford will do those correctly and stay with, especially on the Ranger end of things, because when Ford got rid of the Ranger, they made a big mistake, I think, because I don't think I've ever met someone so loyal to a vehicle as a Ford Ranger owner. All of the people that I know that own Ford Rangers, when Ford discontinued that vehicle, they were at a complete loss for what their next vehicle was going to be. I mean, that is brand loyal. That is just amazing that you would have people out there saying, what do I do? I've always owned a Ford Ranger. What am I supposed to do?
Which blows my mind, because an 84, 5, 6, whatever Ford Ranger, holy crap, what a turd.
They were lousy trucks, but they did what they needed to do. They were, no offense to the GM people, the S10s made hellacious mini trucks. They were easy to lower, they were easy to customize, but they were disposable. They were built disposable. For some reason, the Ford Ranger stuck around, and it's amazing. And I was going to say, other than the Nissan hard body trucks, I can't believe the number of Ford Rangers that are still out there. And like Derek says, I hope they get this thing right. I was reading, there's a brake trailer auction on a Dodge Rampage. And the Dodge Rampage, the Subaru Brat, those type vehicles are exactly what 90% of us need. Will needs a truck. Will needs a 3500 dually crew cab because he pulls a 40-foot trailer. I need a Ford Ranger. I need a S10. I need that mini truck. The Dakota, as great as it was when it came out in '87, screwed up the truck landscape. Going, we went a little bit bigger, and then everybody got as big as the Dakota. We need a truck out there. It needs to be $20,000 to $25,000 base price, and get some sort of reasonable gas mileage. I mean, right now you can go out and buy a Colorado, or you can buy a Silverado. You're going to pay about the same amount of money. You're going to get about the same gas mileage, but you're going to get a slightly smaller truck, so it only makes sense to buy the bigger one. But let's get something, again, that's priced appropriately, that has a little bit of towing. Maybe I can take my jet ski to the lake, provided I was a jet ski lake person, and that I can go to Home Depot on the weekend and pick up 15 bags of mulch and bring it home. Or I can go get, a table saw or something for my wood shop. We just need this little utilitarian truck. We don't need these big, massive behemoths that trucks have become. I mean, I'm a Ford F-150 fan, and I almost bought an F-150. That's what I went out to buy when I bought my Taurus. And then my Taurus had to go in for service, and I was given an F-150 as a loaner, one of the new 2017s. And it's amazing to me how much bigger they built a truck to feel big. I mean, dimensionally, it's the same size as my 2012 that I had, but they built it to feel bigger and intimidating, and we don't need that. I want my small, nimble pickup, preferably.
Oh,
Now, wait, John.
give me
I want to go back because
biggest.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Will.
I want the biggest, baddest truck there is. I'm all for making them look bigger and feel bigger and making you feel like you're the king of the road. I mean, you hop in that dually of ours and, you feel like you're in something, you know, and you got room. You can put your freaking elbow on the armrest and it don't hit the guys next to you. You can put 3 full-size dudes in the back seat and go to lunch, I mean, I've owned one mini truck in my whole life,
Hey,
and
Will,
it was a 98 S10. What?
I've heard there's a reason why guys need really big trucks like that.
Well, I'm not into
48
yeah. I leave my tow mirrors out all the time too. All right, just to let everybody.
I've heard that about you.
With my 10 inches of lift and my American Force wheels.
John mentioned something earlier about going to the Dodge Rampage. Just going to say that's a vehicle that never needs to come back either, is the Dodge Rampage. Hopefully you guys remember that, because
the Dodge Rampage is one of my favorite mini trucks. I don't own many cars more than once. The Rampage is one of those. You put a washer and dryer in the back of it. And the nice thing, the lift up, it's only got 12, you only got to lift the thing up 12 inches to put it in the bed. I need a damn, hell, Ford puts ladders on their tailgates now because the trucks are so tall. I mean, and the truck we posted on Facebook this week from Big Oak Garage, when that truck was new, you didn't need a ladder to get into the bed. You could get in the bed. And then right around in the back when you were cruising Maine, just reflect back on last week's episode. But the Rampage was its own thing. I would settle for an El Camino. We all, the El Camino, the little unibody things. And shout out to Smith Performance, because you can build your own now out of a Charger, an Audi, or a Volkswagen.
Now, I'm just going to say this, but I just Googled Dodge Rampage just for the heck of it. I didn't realize there was a modern concept out of it from Dodge. I hope they don't bring it back.
It's the second time there's been a concept, and for me to bring it up again, Bring a Trailer just sold one today, I believe, for $6,500, if not $7,500. And original sticker price was $8,200 on that truck, because they had that on there too. Really, really nice 4-speed Rampage.
There's no such thing.
Thank you.
That thing's terrible. I'm sorry, John, but wow, that's just. I mean, I don't even know what to say about them. I mean, it's a pitiful excuse for an El Camino.
It fit the era, but I'll admit, there was one comment on the Bring a Trailer auction, and a guy was a Dodge dealer in the early 80s, or owned a dealership, and he said those were unsellable. One of the few cars.
Well, yeah. Look at them. Look at them.
Can't imagine why.
They weren't even good looking when they were new, and nothing was good looking when those year model of cars. Hardly anything. You sure as hell ain't gonna go pick out one of them ugly things.
I'm looking at how all our episodes go full circle. And we started by
just look at Will. He wasn't good looking when he was new either.
Here we are at 60 minutes, and I'm taking it again on the Rampage. Now, just that's what I need. I need a Rampage tow vehicle for my Viper.
Sorry, I just threw up a little in my mouth.
Something is wrong with you, John Viviani. I mean, something is really wrong with you. Oh, you can work on it with your pink screwdrivers, too.
Purple screwdrivers.
Ooh.
I do have some.
I actually have a set of those. They're quite nice. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry. We'll just send some sort of...
Nothing wrong with purple.
Man, if this was a video podcast, this section would have just went viral.
We'll just send.
Okay.
For it.
I'll put it this way. I'm just going to do a visual for everybody. If you were to mix John Viviani and Joe Dirt, this is what you would have. Okay?
It's
And for some reason, I don't find that an insult.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to fess up to everybody. I have this thing with Verde Green. And the last Rampage I seriously looked at buying, and believe it or not, I've had 3 chances of buying this truck, and it's in Nebraska. And it's got the Shelby body kit on it, the Aero kit, and it's painted a Verde Green. I'll put that picture up too of the Rampage. I may as well, if I'm going to get it, I may as well just get it. And maybe, like I said, you guys will comment on social media and tell me how right I am, because we've already had this discussion.
I think at this point, you just got to go buy it, John. I mean, after this conversation, yeah, just get it.
I'm not sure it's still for sale, but it's at one of those buy here, pay here lots, so I'm sure it'll get repossessed and come back up. So,
Hey, just FYI, this 84 Dodge Rampage that I just sent y'all the pictures of was actually on a for sale ad on collectorcarads.com. It was listed at $15,000, and it says sold.
Ooh.
hey, what did I tell you? Well, probably
Wow.
I'll take the beating here. It probably had a really beefed up Chevrolet motor in it that was probably worth about 23 grand.
No, actually, it does have a 500 cubic inch big block Mopar, 510 lift, aluminum coated hooker competition headers, 10.5 to 1 JE pistons, Art Marson ladder bar setup. Good Lord, what a waste of a bunch of good parts. Powder coated D50 frame, disc brakes on the front. Then again, he wants to trade for a Mustang Fastback, so there you go.
Oh, buddy.
Oh man, we might get a little hate Facebook after this one.
I don't think you will ever get people that blame you for hating the Rampage.
All right.
But
All
like
right.
I said, that 500 cubic inch Mopar motor is probably worth that 15.
If
I mean, I'd rather have a Brat than a freaking Rampage.
As somebody now with a Subaru in their driveway, not my car, girlfriend's car, which I guess I should have said. That's something else we did this week. Went out, we did actually complete the transaction and got a BRZ. The girlfriend bought a BRZ this week. So, but as somebody with a Subaru in the driveway, I respect Subarus. I've had 2 owned by girlfriends in the past. A Subaru XT, which don't Google or otherwise we're going to go down the Rampage road again. And then the BRZ. So,
I mean, at least with a Brat, you get all-wheel drive, and you can at least strap the person you don't like in the back. You know, I mean,
and you got those cool little pop-up T-tops.
Anyway, Derek, what was you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, if John wants to see the Rampage come back, what does Will want to see come back as the next, rebirth of a car? But maybe he wants the Subaru Brat. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because I've been kind of thinking about that. Being that I'm a 2-door SUV fan, I have a 2-door K5 Blazer. I just bought a 96 2-door Tahoe. I would like to see the 2-door SUVs make a comeback.
Well, the Bronco.
Like the Blazer.
They're talking about bringing the Bronco back.
2-door General Motors SUVs.
Yeah, but I'm just, man, I'm not a Bronco guy. Yeah, and nothing against the Bronco. I think they're great vehicles. They've from the little small first series Broncos. Now the Bronco 2, and then when they went back to the OJ Bronco, I like those. But I'm a two wheel drive. I'm more of a two wheel drive guy than a four wheel drive guy. I guess that's why the Bronco never really appeared to me. Appealed, not appeared.
Well, it might not have appeared to you either. I mean,
and
if it never came out in front of you.
yeah, true. And they looked heavy, and the way the doors shut on those 80 model Ford trucks, I can't get over that sound of it sounding like a tin can when you shut the door. So, never really been a huge late model Ford person. When it comes to early Fords, I love early Fords. But I don't know. There's just something about the Bronco that has never really done a lot for me.
So, Derek, what's your fantasy car to come back?
The Suburban? No.
The Chrysler Suburban, because the Chrysler had a Suburban there for a little while too, or Dodge.
True. See, that's what I was thinking about. That's earlier. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. We'll go that.
So you got confused between GM and Chrysler, and
well,
you
see,
run
Corvette
that Corvette
thinks
museum?
of themselves as their own nameplate.
Oh Lord.
Well, it's been nice co-hosting the podcast with you guys. What car would I want to see come back? Oh man,
the Stanley Steamer.
No, that was going to be my qualification. It has to be a car with a current manufacturer.
Current manufacturer. Come on.
All of a sudden we can't have the Stutz Bearcat show up.
I was going to say the Mercer Raceabout, man. But of course, that's kind of what the Corvette is nowadays anyway. So,
well, I was kind of thinking the Cadillac XLR because it helped justify the Corvette production assembly.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Come on, you came up with the question. Okay.
That doesn't mean I have to answer it. If Ford's still around, can I say the Model T?
Well, if we remember, Ford tried to bring the Model T back for their 100th anniversary and somehow couldn't figure out how to.
They did an anniversary of it. It was a limited run. Okay, just let it go.
So they did bring it back, and the problems with that is
it was very cost prohibitive. Okay. If I had to pick something that was made by a manufacturer that, dear Lord, who's playing with their microphone? I'm trying to talk here. Will.
Everybody just went blank. I can barely hear you.
Check.
Oh,
all right.
There we go.
Sorry. Will had a problem. Boy, if I had to pick something that has gone by the wayside. It's a hard one, okay? It's a hard one. I mean, you guys picked foreign cars.
I believe the Dodge Rampage is not.
Well,
I didn't pick foreign cars.
All right, Will picked a foreign car, the Subaru. John picked the Dodge.
So we did American. So going back to our episode, what foreign car do you want to bring?
I picked a Audi 100. I picked a two-door Tahoe.
Okay, let's answer for Derek. Derek would bring back the GTO and a proper guys.
You know what? I got nothing.
With
I got nothing. I don't
nice
even know.
LS power plant, a little bit of
I don't even know
retro
what I bring
styling.
back. It's horrible.
Okay. Well, got me.
No, I wouldn't. No. Yeah, you've got me too, because I cannot think of something that would be a great comeback kid. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I'm probably jaded because, in my opinion, they keep screwing them up. So I don't want to see something come back and get messed up again.
Okay, all right. Let me refresh it then. If you could be an engineer or a designer or whatever, it was totally up to you. What car would you pick to either bring back as a brand new car or retro style fit it to, whatever? So you're the lead man on the project. You can pick any company you want to go work for and bring something back. What would it be? The way you wanted it.
And we need to wrap this up.
That is there are a lot of possibilities there. All right, just
no, just give us one.
It's still be at 60 minutes. Yep.
But Derek's dragging it out so you can delete his whole Suburban screw up.
Okay. Here we go. Just because I own one, it'd be kind of cool to see something come back. And although they did just get rid of them not that long ago over in Australia, and they were kind of cool, the Ford Falcon.
There we go.
Okay, that would be, and I mean, yes, they just discontinued them over in Australia. And I'll tell you what, they were cool looking cars over there. I'd love to get one to the US. But it would be cool to see kind of it'd be along the lines of what Dodge should have done with the Dart, let's say. But kind of a cool retro Ford Falcon modernized. I'll go with that because that would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome. And then you could bring the Ranchero back with
that would be... I love the Ford Falcon Ranchero. So you nailed it. I mean, that would be perfect. So I think we all just agreed that we'd bring some kind of ute back almost. Because John wants the Rampage. You originally were on the Subaru Brat, and you kind of changed up a little.
No. I was never on the Brat. I was just comparing it to the
but
Rampage.
You still think it's cool.
Okay.
And
no. I don't think it's cool. I just said
he said it was
if
cool.
If I was going to buy something like that, it would be a Brat, not a Rampage, because I could stick my buddies in the back, in a seat. So let me get that straight. A Brat is cooler than a Rampage. Neither one of them are cool.
And neither one of them are as cool as a Ford Ranchero. Okay. A Ford Falcon Ranchero. Agree with that. Sorry. Got to make that clear.
Not an LTD Ranchero. All right.
Are we done yet?
Close it down, John.
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap this up, but I do, as Derek kind of said, and it's kind of interesting, we all chose, here we are, sports car guys, collector car guys, hot rod guys, and we all chose to bring back trucks. Speaking of which, we need to do our Trucks 2 episode from way back when. We promised to do a second episode. Maybe that's coming up around the corner. But for tonight, I'm going to say, we bored you a little more than an hour. We'll let you guys jump off to your next podcast. Be sure to check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram. We're getting a little bit more active there. Check out the new website at nodrivinggloves.com. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram, nodrivinggloves.com, or no driving gloves, no spaces. Shoot us an email, nodrivinggloves@gmail.com. Give us some show topic ideas, questions, answers. Tell us why the Rampage is so cool. And for that, I think I'm going to prepare to go to bed and get editing. Derek's made it difficult.
Oh my God, are you
tonight.
done yet, John? Ugh.
I'm going to go wrap these Boston butts up. I've had smoking all day in some aluminum foil. Let them finish off about 100, 205 degrees. Should be in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I'm going to bed.
Ouch.
You know, it is what it is.
I'm just going to leave. And
Talk
we'll
to
see if
everyone
I
later.
come back next week. All right. See ya.
Yep.